Right. So, I know. I started a playthrough, and then nothing. The reason for that is I quickly realized that there just was not really anything to do in the early game for the pack. Everything sort of kicks off once you've been to the Nether, right? You need lodestones, you need netherite, you need all these materials, you need the smithing templates, for instance, right, to really start getting into the big core features of the pack. There is brewing, for instance. You could pursue some of brewing, not all of it, but some of the brewing, right, before getting to the Nether. But even, for instance, the wax refinery requires a lodestone. A lot of these resources, I didn't realize need netherite. Like, mind-boggling that, netherite is needed for a lodestone, but I also like that it does, add the necessity of getting more netherite, right? More use for netherite. So rather than modifying any of that, what I decided to do instead was focus on creating some more stuff for the early game. So we have a bunch of minigames, and these minigames are utilized to train stats, the player stats. So we went over this a few videos ago, right? There are 7 new stats for the player to improve, and depending on your level in it, right, you get different bonuses. So for instance, if you train, what's an easy one? Resolve, right? The more resolve you have, the more armor bonus of equipment you actually have. And I've actually overall decreased the amount of armor you get from everything baseline, but then once you max out resolve, it's back to normal Minecraft levels, right? So we've come up with training kits, and I've also taken the liberty of expanding the spell system to normal enchanted books. So if you have a trimmed enchant book, which I didn't actually grab any template, we'll just go with flow, why not, right? So flow, enchanted book, redstone, trim it. We might as well, I can't actually do the other one. We'll pick a different trim, we'll go bolt for the other one, just to make them slightly different, right? So they do have a slight trim design, right? It's just changing the strap color, if you will. But if we hover over it, we now have the spell icon down here, and I can cast, right? And it will shoot out a little projectile. In the case of this one, it shoots out several because it's multi-shot, right? So depending on the enchant on the book, it will actually have different effects. This one, because it's just Frostwalker, will just shoot in a single line. But if we run over here to some water, we can use the quick cast mechanic, which is a little charge meter here, or I should say charges, right? So if we left click this time, freezes. It's also striking lightning because I have bolt, but yeah, and so it basically just does a large AoE of Frostwalker because that's the enchant, right? So eventually we'll go back to water. What's this one? This is multi-shot, so it doesn't have a quick charge, right? Well, it does in the sense of whatever the trim pattern is, or whatever flow gives, which looks like it's just speed from the looks of it. But yeah, so I'm going to add them to a bunch of the early game loot tables so that you can find trimmed enchanted books. They probably won't have a trim, right? So instead of saying bolt or flow, you'll just have like basic spell. But you'll, depending on, again, the enchant, you can go into an anvil and stacking enchants. You'll be able to craft basic spell terms before you actually get into the real intense stuff with all the spell charms and everything associated with that. But that aside, right, let's go over the little minigame. So far I finished 4 of the 7, and I like how a lot of them turned out. We'll start with the funnest one, in my opinion, which is just going to be strength training. So commences training with strength, requires an empty space of 9 by 3 by 9, gem tier emerald, so depending on the gem tier is difficulty, so emerald, quartz, amethyst, diamond, and echo shards, it'll get harder and harder, but you also get higher stats. So for instance, if we throw this out, and there's an empty space, which there's not enough, still not enough, there we go. We get this little lodestone platform, and we get this block. So we have move the glowing blocks onto the goals. That should actually be an S as well, right? Left clicks will push them as far as possible. Right clicks will move them a single block. In 3 minutes, the minigame will end. So nice and simple, right? Just have to move this block all the way here onto the goal. When we do, another one will spawn, right? So right now I'm using right click. That just moves it 1 block. If I use left click, right, it'll push it all the way to the other side. Obviously, if they're next to each other, you can't move them. Right, so you have to go like that, for instance. But you can also, set it up so that the goal is nicely situated. So for instance, like that. And now, because they won't move past there, I can sort of do this a lot quicker. And as you go through the different difficulties, it will add sort of different challenges we'll go with, right? So for instance, this one only has 1 goal. Next challenge will be 2 goals, then 3, then 4, then 5. But then also, depending on what click you use, certain things will happen. So for instance, if we go up to the next difficulty, I don't think anything changes then. But on the 3rd difficulty, every time you move it 1 block, it will spawn a lodestone block on top of it. And the reason for that is, well, now I can't move that way, right? We get rid of the block, and we can. You also have mining fatigue, so you can't necessarily just mine out the lodestone. You can, do it. It'll just eat into the actual minigame time, because as we see here, right, in 3 minutes, the minigame will end, in 2 minutes, the minigame will end. Should also make this green, since it's the instructions, whereas this is, a notice, if you will, right? So that is the strength minigame, and we'll sort of just try, I suppose, the easiest level and the hardest level, but all of them do last 3 minutes, right? So obviously, as fun as I really enjoy this one, right? Just moving the blocks and just doing it as quick as possible is super fun to me. Like, I could do this. I could do this for a long time. I don't know, it's such a little thing, but it is so rewarding, like being able to maneuver yourself so that you're clicking on the right side, being able to do it nice and quickly. I'm actually doing this kind of slow, hence, the excess amount of blocks that have moved, or I should say spawned, right? So they will, impede one another. But yeah, nice and fun. So after the 3-minute timer, which it should be nice and near, it will just vanish, right? So you can steal the load zones if you want to steal the load zones to access some of the other packets, like a sneaky, I don't know what's going on. Cheat a little, right, if you want, but intentionally it is there, right? If you want to try and mine through the lodestone, you're more than welcome to, right? So you can access the other features of the pack, but it will self-clean up, right? So again, you need that empty space, but eventually it will vanish. It also, sorry, I didn't mention that. If you try to push a block off the stage, it will destroy itself, right? So for instance, one tried to spawn where I had destroyed the platform. So you can also do that to get rid of excess blocks, right? And make it a bit easier. Well, not necessarily easier, but, less cluttered, I should say. It's still the easiest way, especially here on level 1, just to set up blocks around the goal. But anyway, that was level 1, so we'll do level 5. Not the whole game, but just to show off the challenge bits. I need space. Why do I not have space? There we go. I wonder what that was hitting. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so there's now 5 goals, and basically you have to move to all 5 goals. But again, if we move a single block, it puts a lodestone there, right? Which makes it a bit difficult. If you move a full row, right? Well, attack and push will go with, right? So if you attack, it puts down amethyst, and basically it will no longer move past the amethyst. So right now, all we can do is move it onto the goal. And in order to clear this stage, right, you have to basically cover every single goal. So once we get to all of them, if we finagle this, right, and then we're just missing the center, which is a little bit more tricky. I like to just push it back and forth until it's level, since it, again, eats the amethyst. Oh, one more, right. It'll clean up both the amethyst spots and all the loads don't spawn in, right? Just a full reset. So then you can go again. And yeah, so for each clear, which will then add stats, and you can hear the level up sound when we do, you have to cover each of the goals. So again, 5 for tier 5, 4 for 4, 3 for 3, 2 for 2, 1 for 1. I think you can sort of speed through 1 a lot quicker, in all honesty, than 5. I've tried to balance points correctly, but I'm going to wait for this to evaporate. And you know what, we might actually break this up. We might just do 1 more. We'll do skill, because that's nice and easy. And then we'll leave resolve and vigor for another episode, right? Just that way it's not a whole bunch of nonsense all at once, but I do like the skill minigame. In fact, we can just leave this up here and it'll evaporate by itself. We'll come down here, put time, set day. So the skill minigame, nice and simple. In fact, I should probably clear out my inventory. I need 3 spots. So we throw this down, it spawns in this little pedestal. Again, lodestone. If you want to grab it, grab it. And then we have this little icon. And as you can see, it's got cutouts. So red matches with red. Throw that on, and it goes to the next one. I don't actually know why it caught fire. Well, I thought I fixed that, but maybe not. Okay, I will have to look into that. Ooh. This one is not behaving as I had tested previously. Give me a sec. Okay, should be correct now. In fact, we still have a game going from testing. So if you toss on the wrong color, catches fire. There's also a slight delay before you can pick up the icon again, right? And then if you throw on the correct color, it changes to another puzzle, although apparently now it's... I don't know. I literally did this off camera, obviously, and it was fine. Okay, yellow on yellow goes fire. So it's going to be creating the fire when it's correct. That's the issue. But for some reason, it's not clearing the tags, right, when it changes to something new. It is a little bit bothersome. Though I'm not huge on the fire anyway, so I might... Well, see, that time it worked. I don't know what... That was weird. That time it worked. That time it didn't. You can also see that there's like a streak going, right? So if you do a lot in a row, you'll get extra points. Otherwise, you'll lose your streak, and then every now and then it will also teleport you to a different side, because not only can you match the color, right, but you can match the correct missing piece. So for instance, bottom corner, middle, top corner, right? And depending on the difficulty, it goes from just the primary colors to secondary colors to then colorless as well, right? And that's meant to be the difficulty along with the fire, but, maybe it's just more irksome than anything. Maybe just the delay in picking it up is kind of penalty enough, right? Because that will not necessarily kill your streak. It's a 2-second delay in picking up the icon again versus, a 3-second delay, I want to say it is, for losing a streak. So you can technically continue the streak if you're quick enough to drop the right one. Also, if if that's still on there and you try to drop red, it won't work either. Although apparently I didn't manage. Also fireproof, right? Right now it doesn't actually get corrected unless we pick up the yellow and throw the red on. But yeah, I think I will get rid of the fire and we'll try the big difficulty and see what type of streak we can get going. Okay, so Echo Shard is the highest difficulty. I'm still doing skill. Right, so now it can do secondary colors. So for instance, green, so you want blue and yellow, right? And then we have blacks, where it's colorless, but, again, if you match the pattern, so this is middle and bottom, so it means it's red, blue, and then green, blue, yellow, top, bottom, top, middle. See, now the windburst is ruined as well. Plus, windburst is kind of annoying because they flow all the way. I might do penalties for the player. Cool. Was that wrong? Oh, yes, it's middle top. I'm doing this one incorrectly. I don't even know where the blue piece went, but we don't need the blue piece. Middle, top. And then it's just bottom, which is blue. Actually, the colors is kind of harder. That's every color: orange, yellow, red, top, bottom, middle, top. Nope, middle, yellow. For some reason, I always think blue is top and yellow is bottom. Don't know why. And then all three. Yeah, we're not really getting a streak going. There we go, there's a minor streak. That's those two. Purple is not a yellow. Bad. We lost the streak again. Green. Middle. No, that's all three. Lost the streak again. Middle, bottom. Top. Just top. Purple. Oh, God. See, even without the... Obviously, there's going to be lots of people who can do this nice and easily, right? Because especially if you just use 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, Q, 1, 2, 3, Q. But yeah, I'm not so good with colors apparently, which is annoying. I can do tier 1 and get a nice major streak going. So there's 3 levels of the streak depending on if you get 3 in a row, then you get minor, 6 in a row, medium, and then 9 in a row or greater, right? Major. And then again, you have 3 seconds to complete the next one before you lose it. I might do a penalty if you lose the streak instead of getting it wrong, because I do like the windburst effect. It can be very damning when the items go everywhere, though. That's the only issue with it. It's those two. Like on black, if we do the wrong two, which would be middle, blue. No, that time I got it correct. Middle, top. This one is bottom, middle, right? So if we do yellow, windburst. And then you have to sort of run, pick up the piece. I might just have it push the player back, right? Drop range? Yeah. So if you lose a streak, the wind charge. I mean, if you've got items on it, then, you're screwed, but... Yeah, I mean, technically, if it's the wrong items on here anyway, you only need to get one of them, because one of them's completely incorrect, and then the other one is obviously the one that matches. We didn't really get a streak going, unfortunately. Oh, and then they're gone. Doesn't matter. Oh. That might be my confusion. Is that my confusion? No, I think I've just named them incorrectly. Where's another skill training? Blue. Okay, I've named them all blue. I was worried for a second that I messed up the imagery. All right, let's try. So orange, red, yellow, blue, blue, purple, orange, green. I can't see. It's green again. Orange. purple. Well, we have a major streak going. And I might... the teleport got me. See? Made me throw the item, and now we've lost the streak. So that's kind of good enough, right? The puzzle shifts you. It is on a set timer. Maybe I should do a warning. The puzzle will shift you in 3 seconds or something like that. But yeah. So minor, moderate, and major streak, and then extra points. And every time you hear the level up is when we're actually gaining levels in skill. But I think we'll leave it there for today. So yeah, enchanted books and minigames are currently what I'm working on. So just more early game stuff. I also want to do something to help with the seasons. So what I'm thinking is there's a flower that grows in every single type of season, but it's not actually something you can pick up or collect. I think I'm going to make it so the player can collect it, and you can build sort of a... I'm thinking similar to the bell, but some sort of effigy that you can place in the world. And basically, if you're nearby it, you'll be immune to seasonal effects for that season. So for instance, if you get the Scorch plant, right, and you build the effigy, you'll be immune from all Scorch effects. Because while I do like them, and how devastating they can be, especially, you know, traversing, going to new areas, for your home base, I definitely want ways to shut them off, right? Because there are, you know, I don't want you to have to do everything indoors, because that's the easiest way to sort of salvage this, right? If we head undercover here, the particles should stop, because we're technically, you know, undercover right now, right? All the flame particles stopped and the smoke slowly dissipating. So as long as you're indoors, again, you don't have to worry about seasons, but some sort of thing that you can build, I think, is definitely what I want to make as well. Anyway, so we'll leave it there, and we have the Vigor training and Resolve training. Plus, I'll work on maybe another one in between there and then. Agility and Conceal are going to be the most, not difficult by way of minigame, but difficult by way of creation. But yeah, I do have what I want in mind for everything. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Little pack update. Yeah.